Hey guys, how you doing today? I am out here on the Pueblo Tailwaters again at this secret location. If you know this location, don't tell anybody because it is a big secret. Nobody knows where this is. I don't want anybody to know where it is because it is a secret. So I wanted to give a few tips for fishing the tailwater. Generally, these can be used anywhere, but they work well for me here in Pueblo. So today I am out here. It is right after Thanksgiving. It's in the mid to upper 40s today. It is morning. I am nymph fishing. I've got a strike indicator and a couple of flies on here. What I like to do as my lead fly, I like to use an attractor fly that is heavily weighted. I prefer to do that rather than using split shot. Some of my favorite weighted flies to use as a lead fly include sandworm worm, squirmy wormy, and a red midge larva nymph, normally overtied. And all of these I will use with a bead or possibly like the sandworm worm. I could even use 2 beads on it in heavy water. In my mind, there is an advantage of using a heavy weighted fly instead of a split shot. First of all, you'd be surprised how many fish I catch on it. Second, I think it works as an attractor pattern. Fish will often move out of their slot, come over and check your first fly, and even though they might not be interested in that, they'll see that second small midge that you have on and strike at that instead. I think one of the key pieces of advice I can give while fishing any tailwater areas, and of course there's going to be exceptions, but I have found you really gotta have a dead drift. You'll see me flipping the tip of my fly rod here over and over again. There we go right there. And what I'm trying to do is swing my line to accommodate the currents so I'm getting a dead drift. I don't want that strike indicator to get grabbed and dragged due to cross currents in the stream. I want the strike indicator as well as the flies following just to float downstream naturally and not get dragged. It does make a huge difference. Now another little trick is your strike indicator itself. First, I prefer the little screw top ones because they're easy to adjust rather than the ones that you've got to stick something into or loop your line around, that kind of stuff. The screw tops are easy to adjust, but you want to run as little of length between your strike indicator and your flies as possible. The reason is, here I'm fishing, it's probably about 4 feet of water. I'm running about 4 feet between my first fly and my strike indicator. If I run a longer length, say 6, 7, 8 feet between the two, you'll end up having a lot of free play in your line below the strike indicator. Oftentimes the fish will just come up to your fly, suck it in, mouth it, and spit it back out. So you're not going to see movement if you've got free play in your line between your fly and your strike indicator. So by using a shorter length between your fly and your strike indicator, you're more likely to see movement right away. And this does make a difference. I was out here, I had changed up flies, and I put a little bit of longer tippet on. I didn't realize for a little bit I had a 7-foot distance between my flies and my strike indicator. When I realized that, I slipped my strike indicator down and I started seeing more strikes. I was probably getting them the whole time, but I wasn't seeing them, and it increased my catch rate dramatically. In regards to the flies themselves, technique is going to actually be a little more important than the flies. Obviously, I've addressed the weighted lead flies I like to use, but as far as little nymphs, little midges, I like WD-40, zebra midges, olive, black, that kind of thing. As it gets colder, a little later in the season, I'll even size them down, 22, 24 right now. I'm thinking I'm using size 20s, WD-40 zebra midges, and they perform well, but be sure and be tight on your technique.
There's one. There is one. Feels like a good fish. And we got a nice jump out of it. Beautiful.
If you enjoy this video, if it helps you out at all, be sure and give us a thumbs up, a like, and if you'd like to see more like this, be sure and subscribe to our page. Thank you.
Okay, let him in, let him loose. Nice fish. Looks like another 13, 14 incher by the looks of it. And he took the WD-40. Yeah, about 14 inches roughly. Come here. Cheek. Nice little fish. About 14 inches or so. Oh, let him go. There he goes.